Good afternoon. Welcome to Usability Testing. I hope your week is a good week. I changed decor this week. I'm in the kitchen area. So we are in week 9. Yes, time flies. We don't have too many weeks left together. But we do have a lot of content. Last week we talked about unmoderated testing, and there is an assignment that is due for, I believe, April 16 for the unmoderated testing. Let me just double check. It is available under the assignment on Canvas, April 15. So it is obviously all related to moderate testing, which we talked about last week. And user testing is one of the tools. Now, some people have also tried to reach out to them, and I have also tried to reach out to them again. I have got some links from some of the students, and they're being non-responsive. So again, I am comfortable with not being able to actually submit and get active participants to go through a session. So my goal is that you understand the differences and why and how you would use unmoderated testing. It's definitely not my preferred methodology when it comes to assessing usability of a website, but we had to cover some of the basis and what it is. So if you follow the instruction on the assignment in terms of what the requirements are and then what I would like to see from you, you'll be fine. If some of you manage to have access, so you want to pay $50, go ahead, but it's not needed for the assignment. So I don't know if anyone has tried. I got email. Someone said that they were having a challenge with email. They want a business email, so you should use your Humber email address. I'm assuming everybody has a Humber address. Has anybody tried to create an account, or has anybody made any progress on the assignment, on that particular assignment? I guess that's a question. So do you have a Humber address? Not the inquiry. I've seen some example where someone is trying to use inquiry at Humber. Do you all have an email address for Humber? So as a student, you don't have a Humber email address. Okay, and none of the Humber email address worked. Is that correct? Okay, so I wasn't aware that there would be a challenge with having a non-Humber email address. And these technical limitations are real life situations, so it's sometimes hard to predict what will and what will not work. So I will need to look at an alternative. In the worst case, that should not stop you from thinking about the fact that your screener has to be more detailed. And I also provided feedback from assignment number 1 or previous assignment. And then also thinking about the user task and being more specific or making changes based on what feedback that you have received today from the class. So, and then the question will come then, where are we going to do this assignment? Where are we going to do the setup like I've showed you for user testing? Worst case scenario, actually mine is expiring very soon. So we may then have to see if we can actually have the same people using all the same email address or access, but I will see how we find a solution. There will be a solution. So if we have to switch user testing to another tool, then we may have to do that too. But leave it with me. I will see how we solve for that particular challenges. Now, if some of you have a business address, you should be able to use a business address. So it's really for those that don't have a business addresses that it becomes a challenge. So I don't know if if there's a business address for someone that you know that you could use to or you could share. I mean, that's also an option. But I will see if there's an alternative to that challenge. Great. Are there any questions about unmoderated usability testing from last week that you would like to go over? I'm assuming you all had a chance by now to review a bit of the material on your own. Okay, so when we say unmoderated usability testing, is there a moderator? Great. I just saw a question on chat asking, will we need to record the unmoderated? So the unmoderated, if you're not able to submit the usability testing that you're going to be creating, let's say on user testing, which none of us will be able to unless we want to pay $50, which I doubt we want. You are not required to do any recording. I don't need to see the recording of you setting up. Now, if you do unmoderated, there will be a recording done with the participants and they will do ThinkCloud. That comes with the tool. So I don't know if that is the question, Lillian. But the tool, user testing, when a participant actually goes through your task, goes to your test scenario, the session is being recorded. And then you get access to the video, and you can hear the audio of the think aloud from the participants. And then if they've typed answers, sometimes you have some answers that you want them to type to, that will come in as well for each of the participants as well. So it's being recorded. I don't think there's an option to not have it recorded because you want to see what they do on screen, and then there might be an option for someone to not maybe show their face, but I doubt it. I think when you become a participant in user testing, you're well aware that you need to download something, and then that you also need to they probably want to see your facial and your expression, especially not web. So here's a question. With non-unmoderated testing, can we only do website testing? Can we do packaging testing? We are not limited to a website. If you remember, we can do user testing. Someone can have a mobile and film themselves when they actually receive a good food box. Or let's say that you're McQuaid login and you want to, your login McQuaid, vice versa. You want to see people actually handling rentals. The rental, then maybe there's a component when they receive the rental or the instructions that you may want to be able to do your user testings to see how they maneuver through the rental, getting the equipment to whatever. Or maybe a return. When it's time to do return, maybe you want to have people to actually record when they get the package for the return, the process, whatever you might have for your business, that you may also want to be able to record. So it's not limited to a website. Now, is user testing, non-moderated user testing on a tool like user testing effective for prototyping? Correct. You need to have something that is functioning because it's technology. You're using technology, and if some things are not available, that it will be very frustrating for the participants. So that is, I would say, the main reason why prototyping is not going to work. The second thing is, can participants do it at their own leisure? Or there's a specific time with user testing or non-moderated user testing online that participants have to go and take the test? Are they limited to a window? It is on their own, and it's also on their own at their time. Obviously, your user testing, they will receive an invitation, but they will have until such dates to complete it, right? There will be a time where your testing will be over because you need to be done. So anybody has any idea or wants to share, when is non-moderated good? A good alternative versus doing moderated? When is unmoderated a good alternative for testing? When should we use unmoderated testing? Yes, one of the value, Lillian, is that it's done remote. So what is the benefit for it to be remote than for a business? Yes, when the budget and times are limited, yes, you may have, there's also the notion of high volume. So absolutely. It's lower budget in time and it's quicker to recruit. Yes, faster to recruit. And yes, high volume. So you, according to them, user testing, you can actually get results on the day of, the same day of. And because it's automated, it's online, then the data entry and whatever the participant will key in or enter in their answer is already answered not on a piece of paper or on a separate computer or on a separate software. So it means it's easier to gather and easier to probably do the analysis using the technology that the tool has in it, and to be able to, I would say, live, real time, you as the manager of your website to go in and see some of the comments and view some of the sessions as well. So it is effective from that point of view. Now, yeah, so I would say at this point, everything is being done remote, right? But I could do remote moderated, which is what you did. So yes, you have access to people from anywhere, and then you have the choice to be there for moderated remote testing, and then or you can do unmoderated. And unmoderated is, I would say, unmoderated is always pretty much done online. So it's always remote and it's done online. You're not there. There's no one who's going to be there. Now, can you, as a product owner, do you have an option to eventually interview people that have gone through your test if you would want to? Is that option available to you with user testing? And I would say probably with others. Yes, it is. Now, there's probably an extra cost, but you do have an option that you can actually be there too, or you can actually have the option to follow up with a participant and ask for more questions or clarification questions, or you can even attach an interview or do an interview with them. So I have not done that, but it is an option that is available as well. Last week, I shared with you one of my hypotheses as to why unmoderated testing were created in the first place, and it speaks about volumes. Anybody remembers what my opinion was about why unmoderated testing have become popular? What are they trying to solve for? High volumes of participants, statistical significance. We still have a lot of people out there that think that usability testing or user testing, or when it comes to do user research, you need to have high volumes of participants to be statistically significant. Wow, that's a hard word for a French-speaking guy. So I believe that unmoderated testing, which is a pretty much somehow an online way of serving online consumer who are going through your experience, is to compensate for people that are uncomfortable with low numbers of people. Now, I also think that unmoderated testing, when I look at a lot of the videos or documents, supportive documents for user testing, they talk about feeling, perception, impression, what people like, what people don't like. You know my opinion about liking, not liking, and what people say they do and say they would do versus what they actually do. So I think by now you understand that I'm a lot more in favor of moderated testing, usability testing, because remote or in person, because that's the power of usability testing in the first place, is to be there with the participants, be able to go deeper, be able to ask questions without interrupting, without changing the course of where they would go. But you can adapt, you can change. You can actually choose to adapt a user scenario. We can skip user scenario if you're actually discovering something that you have not even think of. So the moderated piece will allow you to adapt, will allow you to discover the unknown. Where with the unmoderated testing, you're locked into a set of questions, a path. And if they go off that, then you're limited in what you can actually discover, and you can't really go deeper because you haven't planned it. So it's like testing for a disease. You need to have the test for that disease. But if you don't test for something else, you're not going to know. You're not going to know if someone has a health condition unless you test for that health condition. So I would say that's maybe the equivalent of what I was trying to explain and convey. So that is the topic of unmoderated testing. I will have to see what the alternative for emails or for sign-up will be. If there is, I will get back to you. If there isn't, we will have an alternative to the assignment. So there will be an assignment, but until then, don't stop yourself from making the revisions based on feedback you've got, making the additions to the screener to be more specific, and also for the test scenario to be to adapt to the feedback or to adapt to the knowing that you have to be more details in terms of what the test scenario and maybe some of the directions without guiding them and without leading them as well. So this week, are there any questions before we move on to this week's topic? We're going to start the topic today. We're going to finish today. Are there any questions or anything before we actually go to optimization? And I'm reading your question, Lillian. So for now, we can revise with what data we currently have, but if we cannot move on to unmoderated, does this mean we may have to change the due date for unmoderated? No, I don't see the due date being changed, to be honest. But stay tuned. I will inform you of what the next step will be. So do we have anybody who's been able to set up with a work email address? Okay, good to know. Thank you. It just puts more urgency on finding a solution. So, okay, let's see if there's anything that we, I don't think there's any point to do lab today for unmoderated usability testing because most of you are not able to go. So there's an obstacle at this point. So what we will do is we are going to move on to the topic of A/B testing. A/B testing as a research method. Very powerful research method. Let me see if I can actually upload documents so that we can share file, cancel, share file. Okay, so while the file is uploading, I have been mentioning use of A/B testing, optimization, A/B testing a few times since the beginning of the semester. So I don't know if I've shared this with you, but there was a point in time in my career I was at Rogers for almost 2 years. I was the director of digital optimization and research. So I was in charge of Rogers digital optimization at Rogers. And sorry, I'm just seeing what's being loaded here, and it's not what I wanted. Building marketer optimization, is that the one? I don't think this is the one. Okay, never mind. I was at Rogers for about 2 years, and I was in charge of digital optimization. So I joined a company, and there was no practice. That was a new role. This was a completely new job in a new department that I was asked to set up at Rogers. And so that means creating a team, creating a strategy, creating a vision, a team, and then really understand the business and see how do we help Rogers and Fido. So I was in charge of Rogers.com and also Fido. They both, Rogers own Rogers and Fido, both brands. And I was in charge of optimizing the experiences of the website and also for Rogers and Fido. Now, this was for optimizing online sales, but also optimizing the self-serve components of the Rogers and Fido. So I spent 2 years really building a team and doing A/B testing for the entire company. So that's what I did for about 2 years. It was a really, really good learning experience. And it was really just about, we're not building new things, we're optimizing what we have. Rogers has about 300, just the Rogers website, has about 300,000 visits a day per day on Rogers. And Fido, I think maybe 100,000 visits a day. So we're talking highly visited website with high traffic. So imagine every little improvement that you can do to the landing page, every little improvement that you can do through the buy flow for a cell phone will have a huge significance because you have all these high volumes of people. Mind you, not everybody is coming to Rogers to actually look or buy for a phone, but a high percentage will. And the same thing with Fido. So my goal, my mission was to build a team of experts, of product managers and analytics. So we were built around like a mini agency. So, and this is important for you because that will give you a bit of a sense of, if I want to do A/B testing, then what do I need? You need to have a team. You need to have a team of people that will support you. So you are building experiences, but you're not building them for good. You're building them for the test, but the test is actually live. So I will explain a little bit more of this. But you have to be structured like a mini agency where you have someone who's very good with analytics, someone who can actually look at the existing key performance indicator, someone who can actually see the visits, right? And then if we own structured, let's say we own structured, and we actually want to understand how many people actually go through the search looking for the mirror, how many people get to the list, how many people get to the next step, and how many people go to the following step, and how many people end up buying. You will have analytics data, real data analytics on Google Analytics or Adobe or any other analytics tool that will give you a lot of data about what is happening today in those experiences. Then you have people that are good with analytics. Then you have a product manager that needs to have a vision of what is a priority, where are we going to do testing, and then you need to have user experience designer. You need to have designer. You need to have content because you're going to be changing the content. You're going to be writing text or maybe some instructions. You're going to play with labels as well. You're going to do multiple things. Then you need to have a coder. You need to have someone who's going to be able to implement some of the tests. Some of the tests are a little bit more complex. Mind you, 90%, 80% of the time, the product manager or you as a manager will be able to do your own testing. But there will be a time where you're going to need to talk to a developer because what happens is the website, most websites are very advanced and customized. So they are unique. In every environment you will go, we'll have a different website that will have different technology and different coding and different limitations. So you will need to work with a developer to be able to do it. But then your test is ready to go and you implement. Then I'm going to share with you the typical window. How long does it take for a task to be live in real life? And these tasks, the A/B testing, are live. They're actually happening live on the Rogers site. Rogers probably has 20 of those up and running. Expedia, there was a time where Expedia had 1,000 of A/B testing a day running. So they have tons of people that are actually running the test. So I had a team of 15 people. So my team was smart, but still, it's a big team. When you think of a new practice, a new division, for a company like Rogers and Fido, it's actually, I say it was a decent size. I don't think that there was need to add more people. In fact, adding more people, more product manager, doesn't mean that you'll have the designer to help you and support you. But we were structured like a mini agency, a mini web agency, to be able to run optimization. Now you will see more and more as you start looking for jobs when you're done with your school, or perhaps some of you are already looking for work. There are some jobs called conversion optimization manager, or CRO, conversion, or conversion CO something, COM, conversion optimization manager, I think, or conversion optimization director. You need to have someone who's going to have a vision, because everybody will come to you and will want to do testing. Then you have to decide, which test do I do now? Which test do I do tomorrow? Which test do I do 3? So you are a structure you need to have a vision, a strategy, and many things that you need to do before you actually even do testing. So that is just a little bit of the context, giving you the context. What would the position be called for an intern level 4? Okay, so actually, I would say this is a really fun job, by the way. It's awesome. You may find, in terms of jobs, I think I would start by Googling digital optimization. That's probably how I would start, Googling digital optimization. And that will guide you to similar jobs, but that is how you will do it. You will see it. Digital optimization specialists. Now, often they will look at analytics and optimization. They will combine analytics optimization together too, because there's the tight link. And then, here's a story. I was hired as digital optimization for A/B testing. It was primarily A/B testing, but it was also personalization. So we will touch at some point. We can do A/B testing, but the same tool usually is used to do personalization too. If I don't mention it and you guys are really interested in knowing more, let me know and I will mention it. I don't think it's in my deck. Now, I was not in charge of research, digital research at Rogers and Fido, but what has happened is we had some people doing research, but no one had really a vision. There was no team and they were not being cohesive. And they would just do a research when anybody would ask them to do a research. And a lot of the research that they would do was usability testing. So I was one of the main customer of the usability testing team, or people that were doing the usability testing with an agency. So at some point, what we found is there was no vision, and they had no vision, but the synergy between A/B testing and digital optimization and research was really, really key. So I was offered to actually take over the research resources and bring them over to my team, so that we combine A/B testing and research and usability together, because they're very, very linked. How do they come together? I would say if you go to Rogers, if you do an internally at Rogers, you're going to come to Rogers that already has optimization and analytics in place. So you will quite often, it will begin with analytics, or maybe there's a survey that you see that customer are having challenges, let's say maybe with picking their cell phone. And then they tell you on the survey that they are having challenges picking their cell phone, they don't understand certain labels, whatever. But they don't know and you don't know. So this is where you start from survey, or you will start from analytics, a piece of analytics that you will get from your data. And maybe you're seeing that a lot more people are actually dropping at the step where they have to pick their phone. And then you've seen that drop consistent over time. Then you go, there's something broken, but you may not know what's broken at that point, right? So what you may want to do is maybe you're going to have you, Lillian, or any of us would actually go and look at that particular step in the experience, and you will say, I think this is broken. I think there's an issue here. I'm going to say the issue might be we're asking people to pick their data plan when they haven't really decided on what kind of phone they want yet. I'm just making it up here. But you're saying, I think this is an issue. Then you have the option to do an A/B testing. And this is where A/B testing becomes very handy. Then you do an A/B testing. We're going to talk about the details, but you do an A/B testing and you say, I think it's the label. And then you replace the label for something else. And then you find that more people are actually going through the next step. So that is probably an easy scenario because then you know it's a better experience. But let's say that you make the change or you do the A/B testing and you're still unclear, you still see that you have some drop in the conversion. And you've looked at everything and you were not able to really think what is potentially broken with that particular step. Then you may say, we're actually going to do some usability testing. So at that point, you've looked at the data, you've looked at the experience, you can't really say anything that is glaring or obviously broken. There's no survey that you're getting or hearing at that particular step that maybe you've implemented that guides you to maybe an element of a solution. Then your alternative will be to potentially do usability testing, maybe with 5. You would do very, very limited isolated usability testing at that point. So maybe you would do a mini version of a usability testing like we've done, but it would be very, very isolated to that particular experience, that particular step, and maybe this is where you're going to be spending most of your time, how they get to the step, what happens on that step, and then what happened next so that they can actually purchase. And that's it. You wouldn't do 5 scenarios, you may do 1 scenario. And maybe the sessions will last not as long, but it's very targeted. That is also an option that you can do. So that you're going from being very large in terms of trying to find as many issues in as many areas to one specific area of your site. So maybe stock troop. Maybe you have something similar that you will find a stock troop at the payment step. Maybe the payment drop off. The number of people that when they get to the payment who leave versus paying is actually declining. And you've done your data analysis, you've done some A/B testing, and you can't really find what is happening. There's still some issues. You may want to do a very targeted test that you know that you will take your user up so far to this point, to the payment step, and you're not going to do any other testing about the other 4 or 3 scenarios that you had. So these are like shorter sessions, but you still bring people, real people. You still pay them very, I would say, similar incentive because they came to you. Maybe it's really an hour and you'll be in an hour and maybe less. And then you get a very, very short summary of a report of what are the issue at that payment step. Anything leading to the payment step or maybe anything that happened. I did that at Rogers. And in fact, this is why I said we've consolidated because we had a lot of mini tasks that we wanted to do. And we had a partner that we worked with for usability testing every month. There was a task they would run to us, and I would give them the payment step, and maybe I would give them the cell phone issues. Let's say that this is all happening on Rogers, and we think the step has an issue, the payment step has an issue at Rogers, and maybe there's a login issue at Rogers. So we look at there's potentially 3 scenarios that we can all fit in for 3 different clients that I have, stakeholders that I have at Rogers, but we all do that in 1 session, and we could actually do it with 1 participant because they overlap and they are similar as well. So there's flexibility in the approach, but usability testing, A/B testing, usability testing and research are methods. There are research methods, and then often you use them together where you can and when you can, and that's how I've used them. So that was a bit of the context of the what usability testing, A/B testing is, like A/B testing in relation to usability testing and when you would do one or the other. The question is, there's so much data now available, readily available at a business, at a company, that you should make sure that you know what the data is. So if, let's say, all of the sites that you had, there is analytics behind it, right? So there is analytics that will tell you the number of visitors. that are coming to your site. It will tell you how they actually even find you. They will tell you how they find good food. Then if we think of good food, we said there's a challenge of picking the right, creating an account. First of all, there's a challenge of creating an account because they force people to sign up. But the other challenge is when it comes to picking your meal, recipe, servings, and then the images, and then the dietary. So there are a lot. There are like so many test ideas that you can think of. But before you go into A/B testing and before you even go to usability testing, there's a lot of data that you need to be able to look at, that you should be looking at. And then when you look at the data and you still don't have enough clarity on what the issue could be, you've done your A/B testing, you still don't have clarity, then you will decide to go usability testing. But you should not be using usability testing for high data, because for high volumes and big data, because we do know that we're not getting high numbers. And your analytics, when you have good food as a website who's running and get a lot of visits too, and I bet they get a lot of visits on a daily basis, you have to look at the data first. But the data will not going to give you anything about the why people are having issues, right? Motivation behind those users, and why are they struggling, and why they're having challenges. And this is what you may get through usability testing, through think aloud, through what you see, through the things you can ask, that the analytics is not going to tell you. The analytics will give you a number. It will give you no user factors or user motivation, but they're like this. They are tightly linked in terms of how you use and how you use one. So we are going to talk about A/B testing. What is A/B testing? When do we use A/B testing? We're going to start today, but we'll finish tomorrow. The pros and cons of usability testing, of A/B testing. So what are some of the plus and minuses? There's personalization. I don't have a deck, but we have to remind myself. And then triangulation. So I kind of cover about triangulation. Anybody knows what triangulation is? When we say triangulation in the context of research? Oh, okay. We don't have anybody who knows what triangulation, or can we take a guess what we think of, what is it? What is a triangle? Yes, 3 points. So yes, so knowing a triangle has 3 points, then we have maybe 3 elements, right? Or 3. There's more than one. There's 3. A triangle has 3 elements. So triangulation means using more than one methods or more than one data points to be able to make an informed decision or understand what is maybe happening, right? So an example will be, you will look at your analytics. You will look at Google Analytics and you see drop in the number of people that actually go to my payment page. Suddenly, or over the course of the last few days or month, you've seen that less people are going past the payment step, and you don't know why. That's one of the 3 points. The second point, then maybe you're gonna say, I'm getting survey. People are saying I have a survey. That is assuming you have a survey on the payment page when someone is leaving. And I think I've mentioned that to you. There are surveys that you can actually, when people move their mouse away, they call the trigger intercept survey. They will pop up and they will say, Elizabeth, why are you leaving the payment step? Then you can answer questions. You decide on the question. You design that survey. Then Elizabeth says, there's an issue with the dropdown. It's actually, the dropdown is empty for me. Then that's a bug, right? That will be a bug, and hopefully it's an easy fix. Or Elizabeth will say, I'm not ready to make a purchase yet. Okay, great. Not ready to make a purchase. It's hard to change at that step. And that's, I think, a valid reason, right? Or maybe she's going to say, I'm having challenges, but she's not telling you that she's having challenges. Okay? So Elizabeth says, I'm having challenges. And great. So we have a piece of data that says conversion is less people are going to the next step. Then we have the survey. Elizabeth says, I'm having challenges, but she's not telling us what the challenges are. Then you have 2 pieces now. So you may say, we're going to do maybe a usability testing, or no, we're going to do an A/B testing. Maybe you have enough that tells you, what have we changed or maybe something has changed, and or maybe we know that we think there's an issue with maybe the credit card number field, for example. Maybe there's really something happening with the credit card number field that we don't know. I don't know. I'm making this up yet. So you would run an A/B testing, and you would maybe make a better version of what you think for that particular maybe challenge, and then you will see if more people are going through the next step. Let's say more people are going through the next step. Then you can somehow say that was the issue. Does that mean all issues have been fixed? No, but the good chance is there was an issue with that and you fixed it. Then you could say we're done. But let's say that you do the A/B testing and there's still an issue, there's still a drop, and you get surveyed. Then you may want to say that we're going to do A/B test, we're going to do usability testing, because you don't know what is happening, and you feel that going with users and bringing them through usability testing in a room and let's say remote with the test scenario and what you want to set, then hopefully will give you some insights, and then you discover that there is that issue, the credit card is an issue, maybe the security code is an issue, and maybe there's something else that is an issue too. Maybe it's the shipping fee, and that we would have not known. And all of these things combined then give you more ideas for redesigning, or more ideas for A/B testing, or more ideas for usability testing. It's a cycle. So you think you're done, you're never done. And this is why we call it optimization. So at Rogers, we were running about 20 A/B testing daily. We had 20 A/B testing daily at any time running. And in 2 years, I think we've done about 400 A/B testing as well. And then over at Rogers and Fido, and that is combined, there's always something to be optimized. So it's a full-time job. It's a full-time job. There's always something to be optimized. And then it's revolving, and there's always something new. And every test will bring new insights and more ideas too. And you've seen it, right? So that is triangulation. It's trying to use more than one piece of information to either help you and guide you, get answers, or to feel more confident in maybe your solutions or what you think that needs to be done differently. So it's very powerful in research. And when you can't, you should use more than 1 point. You should have, I would say, at least 2 points, 2 data methods that you would actually use. So another research that you may want to do, let's say that you want to do usability testing for a mobile app or a kiosk at the airport. You will look at data. You would probably look at your data and say, we think there's something wrong with the kiosk. Or you just want to see, how do I improve it? Because when someone drops the kiosk at the airport for check-in, they have to go to a counter, and that creates a lineup, right? Then you say, I'm going to do maybe some A/B testing of the kiosk too. So I'm going to bring a kiosk in the lab, and I will do an. Then you're going to say, I'm going to do observations of people using the kiosk, real life in the airport. I'm actually overshadowed them. I did all of this. So that is triangulation. Then you bring all of this together and you say, here's what we found. And here are the issues and the real challenges. And this is from where you move from issues, specific issues, to really findings. Maybe you're going to say there's really a customer experience or messaging, overall messaging is a problem. The timing, or many things. So very, very powerful. Personalization. Okay, I'm going to be very quick on personalization. The same tool that we use for A/B testing at Rogers, which is Optimizely. So you should make note of it. Optimizely is a very, very powerful tool for A/B testing. But Adobe, so Adobe, like PDF, Adobe, or the prototyping tool that you can use for Adobe, also has Test and Target. It's really called, I think, Test and Target. So you can actually do A/B testing using Adobe Test and Target. Now, this tool is powerful because you can do A/B testing, but you can also do personalization with that tool. So that Test and Target can do A/B testing, but you can also do personalization so that you can actually adapt the experience to a specific user in a specific audience and a specific targeted audience. So it's powerful. So at Rogers, we did, I say 60% of our time would be on 80% of our time would actually be on A/B testing, and maybe 20% would be done on personalization. So we were using the same tool, but we were using it for personalization. An example, Lillian is a Rogers customer and she's about to renew. And Rogers doesn't want to lose her customer. So we know Lillian. And then what happens is we put Lillian into that tool. And we put her name, we put her email address, we put everything that we know about her. And when Lillian calls us, or when Lillian comes to our website, she actually has a message that will say, Lillian, thank you for being a loyal customer. Just for you, we have an offer. And then we're going to take her to the experience that is adapted to her. Or we're going to say, Lillian, call us at this telephone number. So we'll have a dedicated telephone number that will actually, that will know about Lillian, that will know that there's an offer for her, and it will fulfill the offer for her. So we've used personalization to really improve business, to improve customer retention, to improve customer satisfaction, and to make it relevant and personal. So that is the extent we're going to use. We're going to talk about personalization, but those tools do that. And Adobe Test and Target is very, very well done, very well built for that. So before I go on, are there any other questions about A/B testing? Though, like, we're going to be talking more about A/B testing, obviously, but the context, so why or how does it fit with usability testing? Anybody has heard about A/B testing before? Yes, marketing, great. Yeah, marketing will use A/B testing quite a lot. You can do email testing, A/B testing. Now, the beauty with A/B testing is you can do A/B testing with anything that is digital. Yes, there's different way of doing it, but marketing will use it. But I would say most often, A/B testing will be driven by optimization or analytics, digital or analytics, because there's a digital piece, there's a digital experience, there's a digital component to this, and often they're going to be targeting websites or mobile apps. So you can do mobile A/B testing, you can do mobile A/B testing, you can do desktop A/B testing, you can do email A/B testing for subject lines, content, call to actions. There are a lot of flexibility when it comes to A/B testing, but often the profile of A/B testing will be someone from analytics or someone from digital. And there's a technology, but you don't have to be like super high tech, but you need to have comfort of reading data, making sense of data, and doing hypotheses, and also experimental, being a bit of a sense of what is relevant or not relevant, and what may be a statistically significant, and we'll talk some more about this, but the tool will come all handy with a lot of these in the house. So we have 2 minutes left. Let's see if, okay, well, so maybe we can close with, what is A/B testing? What is A/B testing? Can someone give me a quick definition, and then tomorrow we'll carry on. Anybody? Yes, comparison of two versions of a product. This is why we have A and B. So A and B. A will be current version. B will be a revised version. So you're comparing A and B. So A will be your existing, B will be the new. And then we compare. We compare performance. And then you set what it is that we're comparing and what will be a successful version B as well. So I like how you try to, we try to do parallel with what we've done. It's all unmoderated. And this is why I think it's important for you to understand A/B testing, because it's really powerful. I say A/B testing sits on top of usability testing. You should probably see, can we do A/B testing before we do usability testing? That would be me. It's very, very fast. I would say it's closely related to unmoderated, for the reason that it's done through a tool. and it's very fast to set up. And you don't need to recruit. It's actually better than on moderator. You don't need to recruit. It's actually happening in real life. It's people coming to your site. You split who is actually seeing version A, version B. It's real time. It's on your existing site. So it's happening today. If we create an A/B testing today and we go launch the A/B testing, it becomes live on your website, and it becomes live automatically to the people that are coming to your site right now at 1:28. And you can already see the performance of A versus B, real time. There's no one there. There's no one recording. There's no one. Well, the tool can record some of the sessions, but there's no one there. No one is taking note. So, okay, so when Instagram implements a new feature in one area of the world, is that an example? Yes, so they do. Instagram, Facebook, Travelocity, Expedia, Google, all these big companies have A/B testing. They have A/B testing happening. You can decide on you can decide on everything. You can decide if you want the A/B testing to be done on mobile. You want the A/B testing to be on desktop. If you want the A/B testing to be limited to people that are in Toronto, specific language, specific other filters that you may decide. So it's really, really cool, very powerful. I'm telling you, I was like you. I've learned usability testing before I've learned A/B testing, and they are very powerful, but for different reasons. You get very quick insights, but it's also not based on what people like. It's actually real. It's happening on what people do. So it's behavioral based too. You don't ask them to do a survey. They actually try to make a booking. They actually try to find a mirror. They actually they are online. They want to make the things, but you compare them and you see which one is more performing. Anyway, it's 1:28. So we have to stop for today. We will continue and carry on tomorrow. The material is open and available for you, so you can read if you want in advance. For tomorrow, we will continue, and there's a lab component to A/B testing this week for each of your website as well. So there's going to be a practice tomorrow. You're going to have a chance to think of a plan for A/B testing that you would want, but we're not going to be able to do a tool. You need to have a paid subscriptions, and you need to own a website as well. But believe me, that part is easy. It's really easy to set up. Enjoy your afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow.